The galaxy was quiet, but not in peace. It was the silence of fear, of shame, of abandonment, above a burning world called Tharun. 1,000 distress signals spread like screams across the stars. Every race in the galaxy heard them, and one by one, they turned their channels off. Repeat, "This is the Tharun people." The signal begged, "We are dying. Please, anyone, help us." The Ushlan turned away. The Jaxari deleted the transmission. The Keltari laughed. They all remembered the Tharun War, a war the Tharun started 100 years ago. A war that killed millions. No one forgave them. No one answered. No one answered. Except one. On Earth, deep in the Colorado Rockies, the signal reached the edge of a black glass tower. Inside, General Aidan Locke stared at the screen in silence. His assistant Maya leaned closer. "Sir, that's the third signal this week. Same planet, same plea." He nodded slowly. "It's real, and it's desperate." In a secure briefing room, 6 people sat around a metal table. Aidan stood at the front, eyes sharp, arms crossed. "The Tharun are dying," he said. "Not in months, not in weeks, days, maybe less." A tall woman with silver hair leaned forward. "And why should we care?" She was Ambassador Reva's voice of the UN Galactic Council. "They started the last Great War," she continued. "Let the galaxy deal with them." Dr. Elaine Brooks, Earth's top xenobiologist, tapped her pen. "They started a war. But they also surrendered," she said softly. "We never saw the Tharun after that. No attacks, no threats, just silence." "They were erased," said Aidan. "Their cities turned to ash, their name removed from council records, and now," he added, "they're crying for help." The room went quiet. Then a voice crackled through the wall screen. It was President Keller. Her face was tired, wrinkled, honest. "You all know where I stand," she said. "If the rest of the galaxy walks away, then maybe it's time someone walks toward them." Gasps. Silence. Then Rivas slammed her fist on the table. "This is madness. Earth is still new to space politics. If we help the Tharun, the other races will turn on us." Aidan replied, calm but cold. "If we ignore them, who are we?" Outside the tower, a storm began to build in the night sky. Thunder rolled like distant drums. Earth was making a choice. 10 hours later, the stealth ship Liberty's Cry launched from orbit. Its mission: reach Tharun, assess the situation, make contact. Aidan Locke led the team. With him were Maya, Dr. Brooks, and 2 Marines, Jensen and Cole. They flew in silence. The stars looked peaceful, but the tension inside the ship was thick like smoke. "General," Maya whispered, looking out the window, "do you think they're still alive?" Aidan stared at the dark space ahead. "If they're not," he said, "then this will be a tomb." As they entered Tharun orbit, the ship jolted. Lights flickered. Cole cursed. "That's not turbulence, we're being scanned." Dr. Brooks looked up. There's no sign of satellites or stations." Then the planet came into view. It was not the world the archives had shown. Once green and bright, Tharun was now blackened and broken. Flames still burned across its surface. Cities looked like graves. "No signs of power," Maya said. "No life detected. Just wreckage." They landed in silence. Outside, ash fell like snow. The team stepped into a ruined city. Shattered towers leaned like dead trees. The air smelled of metal and death, and something else, something faint, movement. "Did you see that?" Jensen pointed to a cracked wall. A shadow vanished behind it. Cole raised his weapon. "We're not alone." Suddenly, a small figure stumbled into view, skin pale, eyes wide, barely breathing. A child, a Tharun child. Maya ran to her. "It's okay," she said gently. "We're here to help." The child collapsed in her arms. Behind her, more small faces appeared, silent, scared, hiding in ruins. Dr. Brooks knelt beside one. "How long have you been down here?" The child didn't speak, but pointed toward the sky, then whispered one word: "Hunters." Suddenly, the shadows moved again, something huge, silent, fast. Cole fired a shot. Nothing hit. The shape vanished. Back to the ship. Now Aidan ordered. The team ran, carrying the children, but behind them, more figures moved in the darkness. They reached the ship. The ramp closed, just as something slammed against the hull. Screeches echoed outside. Not Tharun. Human. Something else. Inside, the child clung to Maya. "They left us," she said softly. "All of them. We cried, we begged. No one came." She looked up. Why did you? Aiden answered, voice steady. Because someone had to. As the ship took off, the camera on the hull caught one last glimpse. A strange creature, tall, armored, with glowing red eyes, watched them from below. It was not Tharun. It was something older, something forgotten, and it was waiting. Back on Earth. The president received the report, and one word stood out: contact. Far above the planet, in deep space, a new signal began to pulse. It was not from Tharun. It was not from Earth. It was a warning, and it was already too late. The hall was bright, cold, and full of silence. Aiden Locke stood in the center of the Galactic Council chamber. All eyes were on him, but no one spoke. He looked around. 12 species, 12 thrones, none of them human. A voice finally echoed from the shadows. Why is Earth here? It came from the Uklan speaker, a tall, green figure with silver eyes. Tharun is a closed issue. You were warned. Aiden didn't blink. He stepped forward. We found survivors. Gasps, murmurs filled the air. Some turned to their aides. Some just laughed. The Tharun asked the Jasari Prime children, perhaps, hiding like vermin. They're not vermin, Aiden said sharply. They're living, and they're afraid. Another speaker, Keltari, with 4 arms and long tusks, stood up. You disobeyed Council's silence, he growled. We declared them forgotten, and you chose war. Back on Earth, President Keller watched the broadcast from her office. Her face was tight. Her fingers tapped the desk. Are they really all against us? She asked. Ambassador Rivas nodded. Almost all. No one wants the Tharun back in the galactic system. They fear them. They fear what they were. Keller whispered, not what they've become. On Mars, the Tharun children sat quietly, in the red domes of Earth's refugee center. Maya walked among them, handing out warm food. The smallest child, Vina, tugged her sleeve. Will we have a home now? Maya smiled softly. Yes, for now, this is your home. But outside the dome, soldiers stood guard, and in orbit above Mars, Earth's satellites began detecting strange signals. Unknown codes, unknown origins, but not unknown intentions. General Aiden returned from the council in silence. He entered the war room and placed his tablet on the table. Dr. Brooks looked at him. How bad is it? Aiden looked up. They gave us a choice. Withdraw from Tharun, or be cast out of the Galactic Alliance. Jensen slammed his hand on the table. So we're on our own. Aiden nodded. We always were. Then the lights flickered. An alert flashed. Across the room, unauthorized transmission detected. Source, Mars. Colony. The team rushed to the command screen. A message played. Static. Then a voice. Not human. Not Tharun. We warned you. It said. You chose them. Now you face us. Suddenly, Mars Station 4 went dark. The screen showed fire. Screams. Then nothing. Maya stared in horror. That was the refugee dome. Aiden's voice was tight. Get the team now. A shuttle left Earth within the hour. Aiden, Maya, Brooks, Jensen, and Cole raced toward Mars. No one spoke, but everyone was thinking the same thing. They didn't wait. They didn't warn. Whoever attacked didn't want war. They wanted silence. As they landed near the destroyed dome, smoke still hung in the sky. Soldiers stood guard. Civilians were being pulled from the wreckage. Dr. Brooks ran to the scene. They're alive, she said. Some of them. Aiden found Vina near the edge of the ruins. She was crying, covered in ash. But alive. They came from the sky. She sobbed. They weren't like us. They had no face. They didn't speak. They just killed. Jensen turned to Aiden. Sir, this wasn't a warning. This was a message. Brooks held up a strange shard of metal. It was sharp, dark, and humming with quiet energy. This isn't from any known race, she said. I've never seen tech like this. Maya whispered. So who are they? Aiden's voice was low. Someone the galaxy buried, along with the Tharun. Back at Earth HQ, President Keller called a secret meeting. Only top officials attended. On the screen, Aiden appeared from Mars. The council has already moved, he said. They've sanctioned Earth. Trade, travel, even communications are being blocked. Earth has been left alone, just like Tharun. Silence fell in the room. Then Keller stood. Her voice was steady. Then we do what Earth has always done. We stand alone, and we fight. Outside, the skies over Earth shimmered with growing satellites. In space, Earth's fleet began to wake from decades of peace. Old warships, new drones, prototype weapons. Dr. Brooks met Aiden after. The call. I've analyzed the shard, she said. It's not just unknown tech. It's ancient, possibly older than the council itself. Aiden stared at the piece. What did we wake up? He asked. Brooks replied, not what, who. In the shadows of space, near the edge of the Orion Rift, something stirred. Dark. Ships. Silent engines. Eyes that watched Earth, and somewhere among them, a face remembered only in nightmare. One word whispered across the stars. Varkeen. And the Varkeen had returned. The sky above Tharun was red and black. The clouds didn't move. They just hung there, heavy, smoky, and silent. Below them, the ruins stretched for miles, stone bones of a dead city. The Earthship Liberty's cry hovered over the planet. Inside, General Aiden Locke stood at the window, eyes fixed on the ground. We're not done here, he said. We found the children, but something else is still down there. Maya stood beside him, arms crossed. You think it's the Aiden didn't look at her. I think they left something behind. Or someone. Dr. Brooks adjusted her scanner, watching red dots flicker across the screen. Movement, not animal, not theron. Something is walking in those ruins. Colt, the Marine, strapped his armor on. I hate ruins. Jensen nodded, checking his rifle. Yeah, nothing good ever hides in sunlight. The team descended into the heart of the ruined city. Ash crunched under their boots. The buildings looked melted. Glass ran down walls like candle wax. Look at this, Brooks said, pointing at a wall. A huge burn mark, circular, deep. She ran her hand over it. Laser fire, heavy, maybe orbital. Aiden knelt beside a crushed tower. Something was scrawled in the stone. Old Tharan script. Brooks translated it aloud. We asked for help. No one came. Suddenly, static hissed in their earpieces. Maya grabbed her. Come. Liberty, do you copy? Nothing. Just static. Jensen looked around. We're being jammed. Aiden stood slowly. Then we're not alone. A loud crash echoed behind them. Everyone spun. A shadow moved between buildings. Big fast. Cole raised his weapon. Contact. Right flank. He fired, but the shadow was already gone. They moved in tight formation, weapons raised, eyes scanning. Every corner. The silence grew heavier with each step. Then they saw it, a pile of bodies. Tharun. Burned, torn, melted. Dozens of them, maybe more, stacked like garbage. Brooks covered her mouth. My God. Aiden stepped forward, then froze. One of the bodies moved, barely. It was a Tharun male, older, wounded, half blind. His breathing was shallow, but he raised a hand toward them. Maya knelt beside him. Can you understand me? He nodded weakly. They came back, he whispered. After everyone left, the Varkeen came back. Why? Aiden asked. Why return now? The man coughed. Because they never left. Suddenly, the ground shook. A long, deep roar echoed through the streets. Something was coming. Fast. The old Tharuan's eyes widened. Run, he whispered. Run now. Then he went still. Jensen pulled Maya up. We need to move. They ran through the ruins, heartbeats racing. The roar followed them, louder, closer. Buildings shook as something massive smashed through the city. Cole glanced back. A towering beast, metal and bone, charged through the smoke. It had no face, just glowing red eyes. Its body hissed with steam. Varkan war machine, he yelled. We've got a mech on our tail. Brooks threw a pulse grenade behind them. It hit the street. Boom. Dust flew. The beast staggered, just enough for them to reach a building and dive inside. Aiden slammed the door shut behind them. He pressed his back against it, breathing hard. Anyone hit? Everyone shook their heads, but no one was calm. Inside the building, they found stairs. Leading down, deep underground. I'm picking up faint energy, Brooks said. Below us, very old. Aiden looked at her. Let's see what they left behind. They moved carefully down the stairs. The deeper they went, the colder it got. The silence grew. Even their footsteps seemed too loud at the bottom. They found a huge door. Ancient. Tharun design, but different. More advanced. Brooks touched the panel beside it. It blinked green. The door opened. Inside was a dark chamber in the center. A glowing crystal surrounded by floating rings. Energy pulsed from it, slow, steady. What is this? Maya whispered. Brooks walked slowly toward it. It's a power core, she said. Old tech. But not Tharun. Aiden frowned. Then whose is it? Brooks turned to him. I think it's human. Silence. Everyone stared. What are you talking about? Aiden said. Brooks looked shaken. I ran tests on the Tharun children before. Their DNA had traces of something very familiar. Human markers. Maya stepped back. Wait, are you saying we're related? No, Brooks said. Not related. Connected. Before anyone could speak, the building shook again. The floor cracked. Dust rained from the ceiling. The beast had found them. We need to get out. Now, Aiden shouted. They grabbed the data core, ran back up the stairs. The exit was blocked. The war machine stood in the street, waiting. Cole growled. Looks like we go through. Aiden gave the order. Open fire. Gunfire lit up the ruins. Smoke filled the air. Jensen hit the legs. Maya aimed for the core. Brooks ducked behind cover. The beast roared, then exploded in a burst of sparks and metal dot pieces flew in all directions. Silence followed, but no one cheered. They returned to the ship, tired and shaken. The signal jam was gone. Maya helped the children on board. Aiden handed the crystal core to Brooks. What is this thing? He asked. Brooks stared at it, eyes wide. I don't know, she whispered. But it's not just a weapon, it's a message. As the ship lifted from Tharun, Aiden looked down one last time. The city was gone. The people were nearly extinct, but something still breathed in that ash dot. Not just pain, not just death. A secret, a connection, a warning, and Earth had just touched it. The ship glided into Mars orbit under silence. Inside. The crew of Liberties, Cry was quiet too. No one spoke. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Something had changed. General Aiden Locke sat in the command chair. He held the glowing crystal in one hand. Its light pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. We're being watched, he said softly. Maya looked at him from across the room. From space, Aiden shook his head. No. From inside, Cole and Jensen guarded the refugee dome on Mars. The Tharun children played quietly, unaware of what had followed them home. But something else had arrived with them. Something dangerous. At midnight, the alarms blared. Cole rushed into the central corridor. Weapon drawn. Red lights flashed overhead. Movement inside the med lab. The voice on the com crackled. Unauthorized access. Cole and Jensen ran toward the lab. They burst in. The door was wide open. Inside, everything was wrecked. Glass shattered. Equipment fried. Brooks arrived seconds later. Her face went pale. The crystal sample, the one pulled from Tharun, was gone. Who would take it? Maya asked. There are only a few people who even know what it is. Jensen looked at the security feed. It played a blurry figure, tall, cloaked, walking without sound. Then the screen glitched. No face, no ID, not human. Cole muttered, too smooth, too fast. They began scanning every room, every hallway. Then a strange discovery. One of the Tharun elders, brought from the ruins, was gone. Vanished. No trace. No heat. No trail. President Keller received the update from Earth. She stared at the screen. Are you telling me a Varkan agent is inside our own base? Aiden replied firmly, yes, and it's not just any agent. It knew exactly what to take. It wanted the core. Meanwhile, Brooks worked alone in the science lab. She scanned the data pulled from the ruins. Ancient writings, power patterns, hidden signals. Suddenly, a file unlocked. Her screen flickered. The image that appeared froze her breath. It was a map of Earth. Hundreds of red dots, targets, double quotes. Oh no, she whispered. She hit the emergency. Come, General. We have a bigger problem. Back in the war room, Brooks stood before the team. That core we found, it's not just a machine. It's a tracker. It's been sending signals since the moment we lifted off Tharun. Maya stared. You mean they know where Earth is? Brooks nodded. Double quotes. And not just Earth. They know every human colony, station, and outpost. They've been waiting. And now they're coming. Aiden slammed his fist on the table. We need to shut down that signal. Where is it coming from? Brooks looked at the screen. It's not coming from the ship. It's coming from the Tharun. Dead silence. Cole narrowed his eyes. You're saying one of them is broadcasting this? No, she said quietly. I'm saying one of them isn't Tharun at all. Aiden stood slowly. Get me thermal scans of every person in that dome. 20 minutes later, they had their answer. One scan didn't match. Too cold. No heartbeat. Just static. Room 17, the hidden one. The team moved fast. Jensen and Cole led. Maya held the scanner. Aiden stood at the back. They opened the door. The room was dark. Empty. Check the walls. Aiden said. False panels. Hidden doors. Suddenly, the lights exploded. A screech echoed. Something leaped from the ceiling. Cole fired. But the figure moved too fast. It slammed him into the wall. Jensen tackled it. The figure shrieked, its face shifting like liquid. Then it threw him aside like paper. Maya hit the emergency seal. The doors slammed shut, trapping the creature inside. It stopped moving, stared at them through the glass. Its face began to change, melt, reform, until it looked exactly like Aiden. Same eyes, same scar, same scar, same scar, same voice. Earth will burn, it said. Then it self-destructed. The explosion shook the dome. Fire roared through the hallway. Sprinklers fell from the ceiling. Screams echoed as emergency systems activated. Aiden coughed through smoke. Status. Brooks shouted. Seals. Holding. Damage is minimal, but the signal it still live. They rushed to the central server. Maya pulled up the signal path. It's bouncing off satellites. Aiden ordered, shut them down. She nodded. But we'll lose all contact with Earth. He paused, then said firmly, do it. One by one, Earth's outer satellites went dark. The signal faded, until silence returned. But it wasn't peace, it was a pause. Brooks leaned back. That agent, the shapeshifter, it wasn't just spying, it was testing us. Aiden looked at the stars through the dome's cracked window. They know we're not afraid, Maya whispered. Or maybe, that's exactly what they want. Far beyond Mars, deep in a starless void, a massive structure began to stir. Black ships lined its surface, engines ignited. The Arcane fleet had received its call, and it was heading straight for Earth. The silence in Earth's command bunker was deeper than usual, a cold silence. It was the kind that came right before something terrible. President Keller stood in front of a massive digital map. Red lights blinked across space. Every one of them was a potential threat. Have we confirmed their course? She asked. Aiden Locke, patched in from Mars, answered without blinking. They're coming. No more guessing, Varkin, she said. Aiden nodded once. Yes, and they're not hiding anymore. Brooks stood beside him, holding the ancient Tharun crystal. Her face was pale. It's more than just a beacon, she said. It's a key. Keller frowned. A key to what? Brooks took a deep breath. To something the Tharun buried. Back on Mars, in the underground labs, the research team worked non-stop. Data streams flowed across every screen. Maya scrolled through the decoded files from the Tharun ruins. Each symbol, each pattern, told a story that had been erased. From the galaxy's history, they were advanced, she whispered, more than anyone knew. Jensen pointed at the holodisplay. These coordinates, they match an asteroid near Jupiter. Aiden leaned in. That's no asteroid, it's a vault. Within hours, a shuttle launched from Mars. Aiden, Brooks, Maya, and Cole boarded it. Destination, asteroid E917. The ship drifted into the shadow of the rock. No light, no sound, just a stillness that felt wrong. They landed on the surface. Dust scattered beneath their boots. A massive metal door stood before them, buried under time and silence. Brooks held up the crystal. It glowed. A low hum vibrated through the ground. The door responded. Ancient machines inside clicked to life. Gears turned. The metal shifted, and slowly, the vault opened. Inside was a chamber unlike anything Earth had seen. Holograms danced in the air. Weapons floated, untouched by dust. Symbols glowed on the walls. It's Tharun tech, Maya whispered, but it's older than their collapse. Brooks walked toward a tall column in the center. She placed the crystal inside, a glowing socket. The lights turned blue. A voice echoed through the room. Humanity, you found us. The team froze. The voice continued, calm and sad. We were the first. We helped create the council. But when the Varkin came, we were betrayed. Maya whispered. It's a recording. The voice told of a secret alliance. Long ago, the Tharoan had worked with early humans, a bond hidden from history. But the Varkin came from outside the galaxy. They brought death, fear, far, and a promise. Erase the Tharoan, or shared their fate. The council chose survival. They turned on their old allies. We buried our knowledge. The voice said, waiting for you to find it again. Aiden clenched his fists. They lied to the galaxy. They buried everything. Brooks touched. A hologram of Earth. It's not just about war. They were trying to protect us. Suddenly, the vault began to rumble. The machines went dark. Cole raised his weapon. Company outside. A shadow moved across the asteroid. A Varkan stealth ship had followed them, and it was not alone. Back on Earth, the satellite defenses lit up. Admiral Core of the orbital fleet shouted. Multiple enemy ships detected. They've breached the outer layer. In the sky, dark ships appeared like ghosts. They didn't fire. They just floated, watching. President Keller stood on the balcony, staring at them. They're not attacking, she said. Not yet. They're waiting. Her aide replied. For what? In orbit near Jupiter. Liberty's cry began rising from the asteroid. Aiden gave the order. Get that core uploaded to Earth Command. We need the truth out. The enemy ships followed. Chasing. Closing. Maya activated the vault's defense. Turrets rose from the asteroid's crust. Blue energy exploded across space. One Varkin ship was destroyed. The others scattered, but they were learning. Adapting. Inside the ship, Brooks was shaking. The core, it's changing. She held the crystal in her hand. It glowed brighter than ever, faster, hotter. It's not just data, she said. It's alive. Suddenly, Earth's deep-core AI received a transmission. Encrypted. From the vault. The hologram of a Tharun elder appeared. This is our final gift, it said. We were not perfect, but we remembered you. Then the signal burned into the global network. New code, new weapon systems, a fleet design Earth had never seen. President Keller stepped forward. Can we build it? The AI responded. Yes, but it will take sacrifice. Back, on Liberty's cry, Cole looked at the ship's sensors. 3 more Varkin cruisers inbound. Aiden turned to Maya. Get us home. As they entered warp, the stars bent. The darkness chased them. Back on Earth, the people watched the skies. Children looked up and pointed. The black ships were still there. But now, Earth was waking up, faster than anyone expected. Smarter than the galaxy remembered, in a secret hangar beneath the Rockies. Engineers activated the first piece of something new. Not a ship, not a weapon, a legacy. And in the silence of space, the Varkin listened. They heard Earth's heartbeat growing stronger, and they began to worry. For the first time in 1,000 years, they were not the hunters anymore. They were the hunted. The sky above Earth was no longer empty. It was crowded with shadows. Varkin warships drifted like predators above the planet. They watched. They waited, and the world below watched back. General Aiden Locke stood in Earth's orbital command center. Screens glowed around him. Warnings blinked red and yellow. We have 5 ships in low orbit, a tech officer reported. They're not attacking yet, sir. But it feels like they're testing us. Aiden nodded. They are. They're waiting for weakness. President Keller appeared on the main screen. Any sign of movement? Any demands? Aiden shook his head. No contact, just silence. But that silence, it's loud. Down on Mars, Maya stood with Dr. Brooks in the medical bay. The Tharun children sat quietly in their quarters, but one was missing. Where's Vina? Maya asked. A guard answered. She was here this morning, but the cameras gone dark. Brooks rushed to the command terminal. The feed was frozen. Something had cut the signal. Suddenly, the base shook. The lights flickered. A siren began to scream. Explosion in Section 3. Someone shouted. Maya grabbed her. Come. Aiden, we have a problem. Something just hit the refugee center. Status. He barked. Brooks looked at the wreckage feed. It's not from outside. It came from inside. Aiden's eyes narrowed. Then, we have a spy, or worse, a traitor. Hours later, Aiden arrived on Mars. The base was still smoking. The Rune children were being moved to a safer zone. Cole walked beside him. We found something strange, sir. He held up a data chip, encrypted, hidden inside the Tharun Elder's sleeping pod. They plugged it into the console. The file opened. It was a Varkin transmission. Sent from inside the dome, relayed to one of the orbiting ships. Maya stared in disbelief. One of them betrayed us. No, Brooks said quietly, not just one. She tapped another screen. The DNA scans showed something shocking. One of the Tharun elders wasn't Tharun at all. Aiden leaned forward. What is it? Brooks whispered. A hybrid, part Tharun, part Varkin. Jensen spoke up. You're saying they've been working together? Aiden stood in silence, then turned to the window. No, I'm saying they never stopped working together. Flashback. 80 years ago, a secret Tharun faction refused surrender. Instead, they hid deep underground and made a choice to survive. They partnered with the enemy. The vEvery back in the present. Brooks confirmed it. Not all Tharun were victims. Some of them helped the Varkeen destroy their own people. Maya stepped back, sickened, so the betrayal didn't start. Now, it started before the war even ended. Aiden's voice was low. Then we've been protecting the enemy. At that moment, Earth Command received another alert. A secure ship leaving Mars without permission. It was heading toward the outer rings. Aiden shouted, "Intercept it." Cole and Jensen launched a pursuit drone. The ship was fast, sleek, built with Tharun tech. Brooks stared at the radar. They're not just escaping, they're carrying something. The screen showed a glowing core inside the fleeing ship. Another relic, another crystal. Brooks gasped. "That's Vault Core 2. Maya grabbed her headset. "We need to stop that ship now." The drone fired. One hit, then two. The ship spun. Smoke trailed from its engines, but it was too late. It jumped to warp. Gone. Aiden slammed his fist. They just stole the last piece. "Of what?" Keller asked. "Patched in again." Brooks answered slowly. "Of the ancient weapon." Keller's voice sharpened. "Explain." Brooks took a breath. The vault on the asteroid had multiple cores. Each was designed to power one part of a larger device. Alone, they're harmless, but together, they can activate something hidden for centuries. Aiden turned toward the stars. "They're building the weapon we were meant to keep hidden." Suddenly, the Varkin ships began to move. One by one, they turned and vanished into hyperspace. "Where are they going?" Keller asked. Aiden didn't hesitate. "They have what they want. They're heading to finish what they started. Prepare Earth defenses." He ordered lock down every outpost, from the moon to Jupiter's rim. Cole asked the question on everyone's mind: what happens if they activate the weapon? Brooks looked down at her screen. Her fingers trembled. "Then we won't have a war. We'll have an extinction." A new symbol appeared on Earth's deep space radar. A blinking signal, not from the vEvery, not from the Council, but from a forgotten world. Zarian Prime, the home of the last ancient shipyard. Aiden looked at Keller. "We need allies," she nodded, "and fast." But in the shadows of the galaxy, the Varkin smiled. Because betrayal wasn't just a weapon, it was the beginning. The stars over Zarian Prime shimmered like frozen fire. But beneath them, the planet was silent, abandoned, dead. Aiden Locke stood at the window of his dropship, eyes locked on the gray surface below. "This place used to build entire fleets," he said quietly. "Now, it's just a grave." Maya leaned over the console. "Are we sure the signal came from here?" Brooks nodded slowly. "It matches the core's energy. Someone is down there, and they want us to find them." President Keller had given strict orders. "Recover the final ship plans. Secure the vault. No mistakes." Liberty's cry landed just outside the old shipyard gates. The metal walls were rusted. Tall towers leaned like broken bones. Cole adjusted his rifle. "This feels like a trap." Jensen scanned the area. "Or bait." "Same thing," Cole muttered. They entered the structure, weapons ready. Inside, massive hangars stretched into darkness. Old Tharun ships hung like ghosts from the ceiling. Silent. Forgotten. Then they heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. A figure stepped into the light. Old armor. Cracked helmet. A symbol no one had seen in over a century. Aiden raised his voice. "Identify yourself." The figure removed their helmet. A woman. Tharun. Her eyes were human. "I'm not your enemy," she said. "But I don't know if you're still mine." Maya stepped forward. "He sent the signal." The woman nodded. "I've been waiting." Brooks asked the question everyone was thinking. "What are you?" "I was born on Tharun," the woman replied, "but I was raised by humans. During the war, I was smuggled off-world by a rebel scientist. Your people saved me." Aiden's voice was flat. "Then why hide?" "Because I've seen what the Council is willing to erase," she said. She turned and walked deeper into the hangar. They followed. At the far end stood a massive sealed door. She touched a control panel. The door hissed open. Inside was a chamber, filled with light, floating engines, wings, weapons, a single ship stood in the center, unlike anything they'd ever seen. "The last of its kind," she whispered. Maya walked around it slowly. "It's not Theron." "No," the woman said. "It's older, a prototype, built in secret, before the betrayal. It was meant for Earth." Brooks's eyes widened. "You're saying this ship was built for humans?" The woman nodded. to be piloted by someone with both bloodlines, human and Tharun. Aiden stepped forward. Why? Because Earth was always the key, she said. They tried to hide you, to keep you isolated, but the Varkeen knew the truth. They feared what you might become. A low rumble echoed through the hangar. Jensen grabbed his comm. Sir, contacts incoming. Multiple heat signatures, not friendly. The woman's voice was calm. They followed you. Outside, Varkeen dropships descended through the clouds. Troops spread across the ruined ground. Aiden barked. Get to the ship. We're not losing this one. The woman ran to the cockpit. I'm the only one who can fly it. Cover me. Cole and Jensen took positions behind broken crates. Maya and Brooks set up shields at the hangar door. Varkan soldiers approached like shadows with weapons. They moved fast. No sound. No mercy. Gunfire exploded in the halls. Cole shouted, "They're flanking left." Jensen tossed a grenade. Boom. Metal and ash flew through the air. Inside, the woman powered up the ancient ship. Engines hummed with a strange blue glow. Brooks yelled, "They're inside." A Varkeen warrior lunged toward her. She fired. The shot dropped it just in time. The ship's canopy closed. The woman gave a single nod. Then the hangar floor split open. From beneath, massive thrusters pushed the ship up through the ceiling, straight into the sky. The light blinded the Varkeen troops. They screamed and scattered. Aiden turned to the others. "Fall back. We've done what we came to do." They ran through the side corridor as the woman's voice crackled through their comms. Ship systems responding. AI confirmed. Destination locked. Uploading schematics to Earth Command. Brooks smiled through the smoke. They got it. We've got the ship plans. But then her screen flashed red. Signal intercepted. No, someone else is in the network. The stolen hybrid Tharun core, taken 2 episodes ago, was activating a second vault. This one, deep under Council space. Back on Earth, the President stared at the data. 2 ships. 2 cores. 1, now in their hands. The other, in the Varkeens. Aiden's voice came through loud and clear. "We have half a blade. They have the other." Keller stood still, then spoke one word: race. Brooks understood. It's a race to finish the weapon first. And in the stars above them all, 2 paths began to form. One of hope. One of destruction. The Varkan knew the countdown had begun. And so did Earth. There would be no more hiding. No more waiting. Only one shot to survive, and time was running out. The world held its breath, from Earth to Mars, from the icy moons of Jupiter to the shattered rings of Saturn. Everyone knew the truth now. This wasn't just a war, it was a race. Whoever completed the blade first would decide the fate of the galaxy. Inside the United Global Defense Council, alarms flashed across every screen. Red lines crisscrossed a hologram of space, marking danger zones, enemy movements, and dead zones. President Keller stood at the center, surrounded by chaos. Her voice was calm but sharp. "How long until we finish our side?" Brooks, patched in from the orbital lab, replied quickly, 10 days, at best, if nothing goes wrong." Keller narrowed her eyes. "Something always goes wrong." Aiden Locke stood beside her, armor still scorched from Zerion Prime. He looked at the digital blade schematic floating in front of them. "The ship's body is ready," he said, "but the core matrix is still unstable." Maya's voice came through next. "We're using designs we don't fully understand. Some of the systems are out live." Brooks added, "They respond to emotion, thought, even intention. It's not just technology, it's something more." Cole, leading the training division, stood on a military platform on Earth's moon. Behind him, dozens of new pilots trained day and night. He yelled over the comms, "If this blade is going to fly, it needs someone who can bond with it, not just fly it like a fighter. Control it with their mind." Aiden glanced at the screen. "Do we have a candidate?" Brooks paused, then said, "Maybe." At the Mars refugee dome, the woman from Zarian Prime walked slowly through the quiet halls. Vina, the Tharun child, followed behind her. "I don't like the silence," Vina whispered. The woman smiled softly. "That's because something's listening." In a private chamber, Maya and Brooks waited. Brooks scanned Vina one more time. Her readings glowed softly Tharun DNA, but something new pulsed inside her. "She's changing," Brooks said. Maya looked confused. "How?" "She touched the blade core during the explosion last week," Brooks said. "She didn't burn. She absorbed something." Aiden joined them through hologram. You're saying she can activate the ship. Brooks looked straight at him. I'm saying she may be the Blade's pilot. Maya stepped forward. She's just a kid. Brooks lowered her voice. This ship doesn't want a soldier. It wants someone who still believes. Meanwhile, in deep space, the Varkeen fortress pulsed with dark light. Massive machines worked non-stop. Engines screamed. Weapons, HUMMED. Inside. The stolen hybrid Tharon core sat at the heart of their forge. Their blade, black, jagged, pulsing with rage, was nearly complete, and standing in front of it was someone Earth never expected to see again. A man, human, but wrapped in Varkeen armor, eyes cold, voice calm. Activate the binding sequence, he said. The humans are slower than I thought. A Varkeen commander bowed. The weapon will be ready in 6 days. The man looked at the glowing walls. They had their chance. They chose weakness. Now they'll learn what strength truly is. Back on Earth, Keller paced her private room. The night sky outside her window looked peaceful, but she knew peace was an illusion. She opened a secured line. A face appeared, wrinkled, scarred, and tired. The last council ambassador, willing to speak to Earth. Keller didn't wait. Tell me the truth. The ambassador sighed. The council feared the Varkeen, but they feared you more. Why? She asked. Because you weren't part of the original order. You were wild, human, emotional, and powerful. They knew the day you found your roots, the galaxy would shift. So they buried the Tharon, and when that failed, they tried to bury you. Keller's jaw tightened. Now they'll watch what happens when we stop running. The ambassador leaned forward. There's one more thing. Earth wasn't the only world with Tharon blood. Before she could ask more, the feed cut out. The signal had been intercepted. On the other side of space, the traitor smiled. The human in Varkeen armor. He turned to the enemy. Fleet, begin the final countdown. In the Earth shipyard, the Blade now hovered inside a massive chamber. Technicians moved carefully around it. Its shape was beautiful, sleek, alive. Aiden stepped forward. Beside him, Vina stood quietly. She looked up at the ship. It's scared, she said. Brooks blinked. What? The Blade, Vina said softly. It's scared. Maya knelt beside her. Why? Vina looked at them. Because it knows what's coming. That night, Aiden couldn't sleep. He walked the shipyard alone, watching Earth's stars. He thought of the lives lost, the secrets uncovered, the weight of what they were building. Maya found him by the observation deck. You okay? She asked. He shook his head. I don't know if we're building a shield or a sword. Maya looked at the stars with him. Maybe we need both. As Earth prepared for the final phase, messages flooded in from across the solar system. Old enemies, new allies, neutral colonies. All watching, all waiting. The Blade was nearly ready, but the war wasn't just about who built the weapon first. It was about who was willing to use it and what it would cost. Because the moment one blade rose, the other would answer, and when they met only one side would survive. The sky over Earth was red, not from sunlight, not from fire, but from the thousands of ships floating above. The Varkeen had arrived, and this time, they didn't hide. Inside Earth's orbital defense station, every screen glowed with red warnings. Admiral Kor barked orders, his voice sharp and fast. Lock defense grid, charge all orbital cannons. No ship fires unless I say so. President Keller watched from the ground, her hands behind her back. Behind her, the people of Earth looked up, not in fear, not in panic, but in silence, waiting in the mountain shipyard. The Blade stood ready. Its silver frame shimmered. Its engines purred like a sleeping lion. Inside the cockpit, Vina sat strapped in. She looked small, too small. Maya stood beside her, eyes locked on the girl. You sure about this? Vina nodded. I'm not scared, Brooks whispered. She's not just flying it. She's becoming part of it. Aiden Locke walked into the hangar, his armor scratched and scorched. He looked at the ship, then at Vina. This was never supposed to be her burden. Brooks replied softly. It was always going to be someone's. Aiden stepped forward. If the Varkeen activate their blade, we match them blow for blow. But we do it on our terms. No rage, no revenge, only defense. Vina gave a small smile. Then let's begin. As the hangar roof opened, the Blade rose slowly into the sky. Winds screamed around it. Engines roared, and the people below looked up in awe. The last weapon of Earth had taken flight. Across the solar system, Earth's allies awakened. Mars lit. Its defense grid. Lunar bases deployed fighters. Old colonies that had ignored Earth for years now sent one message: we stand with you. But deep in the black void beyond Neptune, another ship stirred. The Varkeen blade, dark as night, sharp as hate, alive with fury. And standing inside, it was the traitor, a man once known as Commander Roan, now just a shadow, a voice filled with venom. They built theirs from hope, he said coldly. I built mine from truth. The Varkin around him hissed in agreement. Let them rise, Roan said. They will fall just the same. Back on Earth, Vina connected deeper into the blade. Her heart synced with its power. She saw everything from the position of the enemy fleet to the heat of their engines. She could feel their intentions. They're going to strike first, she said. Aiden's voice came through her earpiece. Do not engage until they fire. But the waiting didn't last. From above, a beam of red light shot from a Varkeen cruiser. It wasn't aimed at Earth, it was aimed at the moon. A mining colony exploded into fire, and ash. Thousands gone, in seconds. Brooks screamed, they've started. Aiden didn't hesitate. All ships, defend the blade. Priority, protect the pilot at all costs. Earth's defense grid came alive. Cannons fired from orbit. Fighters launched in swarms. The sky turned into a storm. Vina's eyes glowed inside. The cockpit, the blade moved with her. Not by joystick, not by buttons, but by will. She soared into the enemy line. Not like a fighter, like a ghost. The blade sliced through a Varkin ship. Its energy rippled in waves. The second enemy ship tried to flank her. She turned. Midera naturally fastened, fired a pulse beam. It shattered into 100 pieces. On Earth, people watched the battle in real time. Their last hope was not a weapon, it was a child. On board the enemy blade, Commander Roan watched the screen. His face twisted. She's too connected, he said. She's becoming the ship. He stepped forward and placed his hand on the core. I'll show her what real connection feels like. His blade launched into space. Black lightning trailed behind it. Within seconds, it appeared before Vina. The two ships faced each other in the void. Two blades, one choice. Vina could hear a voice inside her mind. Child of two worlds, it whispered. You are not ready. Vina responded not with words, but with light. Her ship pulsed gold. It blinded the stars. Around them she fired first. Roan dodged his blade, responded like a living monster, twisting, adapting, screaming. The two ships collided, not with metal but with energy. Mind versus mind. Heart versus hate. Vina screamed. Images flooded her brain. Roan's memories. The day he betrayed Earth. The moment he shook hands with the Varkeen. The fear. The pain. The ambition. He had once believed Earth was weak, that only the Varkeen could bring order. But Vina saw something else. Doubt, buried deep in his heart. She focused. The blade responded. It lit up with golden fire. She sent him a thought. You weren't born to destroy. Roan's ship staggered. He gasped. The Varkin screamed inside his head. End her. He charged again. Vina dodged, countered, but she didn't strike to kill. She struck to wake him. Feel what you gave up, she said. Suddenly, his ship cracked. Not from damage. From conflict. Inside him, Roan screamed in rage. Then his blade powered down. It drifted, frozen. Earth's ships surrounded him, but Vina spoke calmly. Double quotes. No, let him go. Aiden's voice came through. You're sure? She nodded. He'll carry this shame longer than death ever could. The battle wasn't over. The rest of the Varkeen fleet began retreating. One by one, their ships disappeared into darkness. They had lost their edge, their confidence. They had seen Earth's blade, and they feared what might come. Next, on the ground, cheers erupted. People wept. Others held hands. And, for the first time in centuries, the world was united. Back in the blade's cockpit, Vina collapsed. Her vitals dropped. Maya screamed into the comms. She's crashing. We're losing her. The ship landed softly in the mountains. Medics rushed to her. Brooks checked her readings. She pushed too far. Brooks said, she gave too much. Vina stirred weakly. I'm okay, she whispered. I saw everything. Aiden knelt beside her. What did you see? She looked up at the stars. They're not done, but they're scared now, and that gives us time. President Keller spoke to the world that night. She stood before the cameras, her voice calm but firm. We built a weapon, but we discovered something stronger. Hope, sacrifice, unity. The war is not over, but for the first time in history, we are not the ones running. Behind her, Vina walked onto the platform. The people cheered. The child who flew the blade, the one who changed the future, and far beyond the galaxy, in the cold silence of the Varkeen Council, a message arrived. One line. You should have finished Earth when you had the chance. They read it in silence, because they knew the final move was coming, and Earth would be ready. The galaxy went quiet. For the first time in 1,000 years. No war, no command, no noise, just silence. But deep in that silence, something stirred. A storm, and Earth was at its center. President Keller stood before the United Council chamber. All screens were filled with alien faces, once enemies, now silent witnesses. She didn't smile. She didn't bow. She simply said, "We are not asking for peace. We're warning you what happens when we are ignored again." No one spoke. Not even the council. Behind her, Vina stood in a black pilot's suit, quiet, calm, the only child to ever control a living ship. The blade's pilot, the voice, Earth, now trusted more than any general. After the broadcast ended, Earth's defense centers returned to full alert. They had won the battle, but everyone knew the war wasn't over. Aidan Locke walked through the new Earth fleet, dozens of ships in orbit. Every one of them built using the Vault's designs, stronger, faster, smarter. But even now, he felt it in his chest. This wasn't victory, it was a pause in a quiet lab under the Rockies. Dr. Brooks stood before the blade core. Its glow pulsed like a heart, but something was wrong. "Maya," she said, "look at this." The readings had changed. The core was dimming. It's slowing down. Maya asked. Brooks nodded slowly. Yes, but not failing. Waiting. Waiting for what? Brooks stared at the screen. For its twin in the cold dark beyond the stars. The Varkeen blade had gone silent, drifting in a forgotten region of space. But now, it pulsed. Awoke. Its lights flickered back on, and so did its master. Commander Roan opened his eyes. Alone, cold, changed inside his ship. He saw flashes: Earth, the blade, the girl, and a voice echoed in his mind. "It's not too late to become more than what they made you." He placed his hand on the core again. The ship, HUMMED. And for the first time in years he whispered, "Take me home." But where was home now? Not Earth, not the Varkeen, somewhere in between. At the same time, back on Mars, Vina stood alone on a rocky cliff, watching the stars. The blade hovered quietly behind her. It didn't glow like before. It was listening. Aidan walked up to her. "Do you hear it too?" Vina nodded. "It's calling something." Aidan stared at the sky. "They're waking up, aren't they?" Vina's voice was small. "All of them." In the next days, strange signals appeared across the galaxy. Unknown origins. Old codes. THARUN. But not just from the past. Brooks showed Keller the data. "There's more vaults, more cores." "How many?" Brooks swallowed hard. 7. Across the galaxy. Brooks nodded. Each one built before the collapse. Each one designed to wake only if Earth survived. Keller didn't speak. She just looked at the stars and said, "Then it's not a war anymore, it's a test." The council tried to stop it. They sent fleets to the outer systems, tried to shut down the vaults, erase the signals, but it was too late. The silence had broken. And in its place a message, the forgotten return. Ancient codes embedded in every vault. Warning signs. Instructions. And one final truth. The Varkeen weren't the worst. Something darker was coming. Something that Tharun had tried to stop. Something that cost them everything. Aidan gathered the command team. Maya, Brooks, Cole, Jensen, Vina. "We thought we were defending Earth," he said. "But maybe Earth was built to defend something else." Maya stepped forward. "What do we do?" Aidan looked at Vina. "You guide us." She didn't smile, but her voice was steady. "Then we find the others." From that day, Earth stopped waiting. It launched the Starborn mission. 7 crews. 7 directions, each searching for one of the vaults, each carrying a piece of the blade's heart. Vina would lead the first mission. To the far edge of the galaxy. 2. A place even the council had forbidden. Sector 0. A place where stars didn't shine. A place where one word was written across old Tharun maps: "Don't return." But Earth didn't fear anymore, because now they remembered who they were. The night before launch, Aidan visited Vina in the ship bay. He looked at Hertha's child who had carried the galaxy on her back. You scared?" he asked. She nodded. "Very." "Then you're ready." He handed her a small silver pin, the Earth insignia, but the new one, no longer a shield, a blade. "Come back with the truth," he said, "or don't come back at all." Vina smiled. "You always say the scariest things when you're trying to be nice." He laughed once, then walked away. As the mission launched, Earth watched the sky. 7 ships became 7 stars, heading towards secrets older than the galaxy itself. In deep space, the first vault opened. Inside it, not weapons, not ships, but memories, truths, and a voice that had waited 1,000 years whispered, "If you're hearing this, you survived." Now comes the hard part. Commander Roan, drifting in space, heard the same message. He bowed his head. Alone, but no longer empty. He turned his blade away from war, toward the next vault, on Earth. The council broke. Some ran, some begged, others simply disappeared, because they knew this was no longer a human war. This was a human awakening. And so, the galaxy changed, not with fire, not with noise, but with the last silence, the kind that comes right before the next chapter begins, a silence that said, "We are here now. We remember everything. We are not afraid." End of series.